Hello to all my friends and family, and welcome to Jim's 5am Club. And I'm down here at the ground level of the International Passenger Terminal. There's a bit of a wind blowing, so I'll just stay in here so I don't get too much interference. And we'll do a bit of a stand and talk as opposed to a walk and talk. And we'll cover another book summary today. And it's an awesome book. It is one of those books that is chock-a-block, full of information and life hacks on topics which are difficult to talk about, and topics that a lot of us have as discussions that are, I guess it's difficult to talk about. So the book is entitled, and aptly entitled, Having Difficult Conversations, and the author is Douglas Stone, and the book is Having Difficult Conversations. And I guess one of the challenges that we have in our lives is being able to chat about things that many other people find difficult. And I think the Greeks basically say it or call it "navgazis to fidi ap tripa," and that's to wrestle the snake out of the hole, or to entice the snake out of the hole. And it's something which takes courage, and not everybody's comfortable nor good at it. And we have a number of taboo subjects, or a number of taboo topics, and we've got egos around us. We're just surrounded by people with massive egos. And what I'm noticing is that with time, people are becoming more and more sensitive to a lot more topics. They're becoming a lot more open to topics, admittedly, but they're also becoming very, very sensitive and open to offence on other topics, which is quite puzzling. But anyway, this book here gives us a few ways to address the challenges of having difficult conversations. And sooner or later, all of us are going to be called to have difficult conversations with our parents, with our siblings, with our uncles, our aunts, our grandparents, our partners, our workmates. And we just need to understand that it's just a natural way of being, and it's an important skill to have in order to grow, develop, and find your place in the world. So the author breaks it down into three major components. Component one is we need to understand, first and foremost, what happened. The second, we need to communicate and articulate as best we can what our feelings were about what happened. And the third thing we need to cover is the thing about identity. So the first area of discussion is probably about what happened. And they say that sometimes the big mistake that most people make about difficult situations in their life is that they don't stop what happened, and they just let it go on and on and on. So one big mistake is to let things continue in your life, things that you don't like or things that you find offensive and painful. So addressing the challenges and issues that we have in our life is obviously the first step. So you can't blame other people around you for doing things that they do if you don't address it in the first place and try and nip it in the bud. So the author talks about the importance of not assuming that the person meant what they were doing. Because I, like most other people, I do things and I don't know. I don't know that what I'm doing is offending people or upsetting people or causing them grief, pain and suffering. So if I'm like that, then it's safe to understand from my perspective that everybody else is like that as well. Sometimes people do things which offend us, but they don't know that they're doing it or what they're doing is offensive or causing us pain. So it's important not to assume the intention, because people out there, or most people out there, most normal people, and we'll just use normal loosely, most normal people out there don't intend to cause pain, grief, suffering, and awkwardness and uncomfortableness in us and other people around them. So from the author's perspective, the first thing we need to do is we need to ask and to clarify what their intent was. Because if their intent was to hurt us, to offend us, to cause us pain, then we've got a problem. But the first thing is to raise or to broach the subject and to ask them clearly, what was their intent? And when asking that question, we've also got to make sure that we're not assigning blame and we're not making the other person feel uncomfortable, but we're curious. We're just showing the other person that we're curious to find out what they were thinking about what they were doing and what their intention was. Because not everything we do works out the way we want it to work out. And sometimes it, takarme patata, as the Greeks say, it turns into a potato when we're trying to do something constructive and beautiful. So it's all about understanding the contribution and the impact, and to be open and clear about sharing that with the other parties. So the way we contribute to problems that we have in our lives, there are 4 contributions that the author talks about. And the first one is that we avoid discussing things that are causing challenges. The other thing is that the other people who we want to approach and talk to about it are unapproachable. If people around us are unapproachable and you feel uncomfortable talking to them about things which are challenging and awkward and causing you pain, then that's not going to help either. The author talks about the intersections, meaning there's a time and place for everything. There's a time to broach and to raise your concerns and to talk about things. But you don't talk about things when people are cranky, or when people are feeling down, or when people are not in a constructive state where you can raise your issues or raise the questions and to find out what they're doing and why they're doing it, and maybe then to suggest a different way of doing things in order to get the outcomes that they desire. Because at the end of the day, feelings are difficult. They're difficult, and we also have different ways of expressing ourselves, different ways of doing things, because we've grown up differently. You may have grown up doing things in a certain order, whereas I may have grown up doing things not as orderly, or vice versa. So we need to understand that we are all different. We've had different upbringings, we've got different cultural norms and nuances, and we need to take all of these things into consideration when A, trying to understand what other people are doing, and B, trying to broach it and raise it with them So the author then talks about another thing, that if we don't express certain feelings, or if we don't raise things as issues because we avoid doing it, or the other person is unapproachable, or we don't quite get the right timing to do it, then unexpressed feelings fester and get worse. They don't get better. You can't sweep things under the carpet. I've been married 35 years and I've learnt the hard way that you can't sweep things under the carpet, and it's best to raise issues or raise challenges as quickly as possible. Nip them in the bud and get clarity as early as you can. Because what happens is that some conversations are very, very touchy and touch our sense of worth. They impact our identity. They touch our ego. And we feel bad about ourselves if somebody says that what we're doing isn't welcomed. But we've got to do something about it. We can't sweep it under the carpet. And we've got to be open. We're going to be open to people being honest and upfront with us, and to understand that they're doing it for a good reason. They're not trying to rubbish us. They're not trying to make us feel bad about ourselves. But it's all about how we broach it and how we describe it and how we deal with it, which is going to have the biggest and most sustainable impact. So the author talks about describing the issue. So if you've got an issue with somebody, the author says it's important to describe the issue in neutral terms and to talk about it in the third person, so that you don't inflame sensitivities. You don't make the other person feel as if you're challenging them, or if you're trying to invalidate them or make them feel dirty or bad about themselves. Because as we said, most people's intentions are honourable, but we don't always deliver or make things happen in a way which is intended. So we need to learn to listen to what people are saying, and also listen to the hidden meaning of what they're saying as well, because sometimes people don't want to be direct with us, but will suggest things indirectly. So you need to have an ear for what people are trying to tell us, and to ask yourself, what are they saying, or what are they trying to tell me? And to question them, and to open up, and to be good about your questioning, to make it easier for the other person to open up and tell you how they feel. And most importantly, people need to feel heard. So if somebody's making a comment or somebody's raising an issue with them, the first thing you need to do is respectfully listen to what they have to say and paraphrase back to them what they're telling you, without being inflamed, without being sensitive, without being egotistical, and without being an arsehole, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. What we need to do is be curious and concerned and empathetic, and listen with an open heart. Forget about your attitude, forget about how you feel about it. It's time for you to drop all of those and to open your heart to listen to what others have to say to you. And always, when you're communicating, try and not over-exaggerate. Don't try and go to extremes in what you're describing, and to know that a constructive conversation, one which is empathetic, where you listen and the other person feels heard, is going to work wonders in terms of your long-term relationship and how you're able to deal with other challenges which are going to come your way. Because all friendships, all families, all relationships have their ups and downs and roundabouts. And just like they say in customer service, when you're able to solve a customer's problem, when you're able to solve a friend's problem and listen to them so that they feel heard, that's when you're going to have a better, bigger, brighter future with that person, because unresolved issues are just going to fester, as we said, and the hatred and the invalidation is going to build until you've got yourself somebody who once loved you, who is going to be looking at you as a mortal and an eternal enemy, and they're going to take every opportunity to bring you down, because we're all habitual in nature. We're going to stuff up one day and they're going to launch into us and rip into us because that they haven't resolved their issues. And I guess that's probably it. And at the end of the day, it's all about persuading each other. It's all about bringing out the angel in each other. Because there are lots of people who can bring out the angel in me, but there are also lots of people who can bring out the absolute devil in me. They can bring out the absolute worst. I'm the same person. I don't change. I'm the same person. But some people bring out the best in me, and some people bring out the worst in me. So it's up to each and every person to identify what the switches are, what the buttons are for each person in their social orbit, and work out what makes them work, and to avoid, where possible, hitting the wrong buttons at the wrong time, and learn which buttons to press to get them to be the very, very best that they can be. Anyway, let's finish up with a positive affirmation. I'm alive, I'm well, and I feel absolutely great. To my friends and family, stay connected, stay relevant, and like that fresh water, let's all make the most of today and try and get to where we're getting and make the most of this day, and take some advice from this wonderful book, having difficult conversations, being able to draw the snake out of the hole, wherever we can, without of course being bitten, without being poisoned, and without being overly damaged in the process. So thank you very much once again for joining me on this wonderful opportunity to take a journey on the foreshore of Sydney Harbour here at Circular Quay on this pleasant spring day. And I'll start heading back to work, and look forward to chatting to you again tomorrow from a different location, and hopefully bringing up another empowering message, either a book summary, an observation, some experience, a song, lyrics from a song, who knows. But I look forward to chatting to you again and seeing you tomorrow. Yasas from Jim on Jim's 5 a.m. Club. Sasakapau, I love you, and bye for now. Take care.